All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for meeting me. I know after team is always a crazy time for everyone in the ecosystem. So I really do appreciate you taking the time.
No worries. Always a pleasure to chat to you. I actually want to learn from you as much as you want to learn from me, Rodney.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't able to watch the talk at Team 24. I had a commitment at the same time that I had to do, such as the way, but I have gone back and watched it since. So I do see I did see the video and what you guys are planning for data center. But I've had several people who did watch it live and more since who have watched the video come to me with concerns. And obviously, years past, I would have just published something about it, but I wanted to hear from you guys and get your side of the story first before I published anything to make sure that what's the story out there is what's really happening, not speculation. Um,
Sure.
it said there are many concerns about the future of data center in the ecosystem. Atlassian does say that they're with data center for the long term, they're with on-prem customers for the long term. But when I talk to most people in the ecosystem, the common conception is data center will eventually have an end of life. And the most of the argument centers about when, not if. What would you say to refute those people who say data center's not going to be around long term?
So first of all, Atlassian has always been very upfront about the cloud first strategy, right? So I don't think I've ever heard Atlassian saying that we are committed to on-prem customers. We are committed to support Atlassian enterprise customers. And currently our data center is the offering that responds to many of the enterprise needs. And that's the product that we offer in our portfolio to those who are highly regulated, those who cannot move to cloud for multiple reasons, like whether it's compliance, security, or the scale that they operate with. But we are making strides to make sure that ultimately everyone can use Atlassian Cloud. When this will happen, if this will happen, like currently there are no plans. We are actively investing in our data center products. So I can by no means say that we will offer on-prem tools forever. I cannot say that because Atlassian strategy is to, at some point in time, be ready to offer the right level of support and the right products in cloud to everyone who chooses to use us as a platform. And as you can see, like we are making huge strides with our Atlassian Cloud offering to make sure that we embrace the story of like more regulated, more requiring more compliance, requiring more scale. And we are very upfront when we talk about like old and new innovation. We are not expanding our portfolio of products in the data center, in the on-prem portfolio. We are launching all the new products in cloud. So I know it's not a yes or no answer, but simply because we don't have this answer, all we have is we are exploring like different paths on how can we make sure that those who currently choose data center can in the future make a different choice and choose Atlassian Cloud. As it continues to change and it continues to like meet more and more requirements that are currently only met by the on-prem offering.
All
So I'm
right.
not sure. Yeah. I know because I hear the same questions, Rodney. I hear the same questions from customers. But when we engage on the deeper level with customers who currently use data center, I want to flip the narrative, and I don't want to like and I know it's Atlassian who built the narrative around like cloud and data center, but at the end of the day, the narrative should be, how can we solve customer problems, like allow customers to use our products in a way that they need to use them in order to drive their mission critical missions, like in their organizations. It's not about like whether it's data center or cloud. It's about like, can we meet your requirements with our products? And we don't want these conversations to be like, I'm a data center customer or I'm a cloud customer. Majority of our data center customers already use some of our cloud products. And it's a very different conversation. It's a conversation. How can we make Atlassian customers the most successful and make sure that they get the most value out of our products? We strongly believe they still get a lot of value out of data center products, but we know that we cannot spread ourselves too thin, and we have to make innovation and drive innovation where it makes the most sense and where we can deliver the fastest. So we want to bring the conversation back to, how can we make Atlassian customers successful, regardless whether they're currently used on-prem or cloud. And as I've said, like there were some statistics shared, 77% of our enterprise customers already have some cloud footprint.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a journey, and it's not black and white. It's definitely more complex, but we stay committed to our long-term future in cloud.
And to be clear, I myself, my personal test instances are cloud instances. The Jira Life fledgling company that it is using Atlassian cloud products. I have nothing against cloud products. I love the things you guys are doing in cloud. I have readers who are data center, either data center as policy or regulation, or just that is their preference, is what they've built their systems on, and moving would be such an expensive endeavor that it doesn't make financial sense to move.
This is an interesting comment, because you're right. Like, our current strategy is based on migration, right? Like it's the movement of, like, you can start using cloud, but the most benefit comes from, like, once you move your data, this is where the value of cloud unlocks. But we see more and more customers taking a different approach. And frankly, like, internally, we are also like considering different approaches. Like, we know that migration of data, especially for largest enterprises, is costly, risky. Like, it's just a huge challenge and an overhead. Like, why should I move my data to a new platform where this platform, like, it might not be perfect, but it still meets majority of my requirements? I want this new value because I'm excited about Rovo, I'm excited about analytics, but what can I do to get this without the need of moving data, or at least like this the need for migration should not blocking me from utilizing the rest of Atlassian portfolio. And this is something that we are considering, like, in turn, it's exploratory phase. Like, how can we enable customers? Like, I'm sure that you've heard it similar to, like, we've heard it a lot, both at the data center booth as well as Atlassian Analytics booth, Rovo booth, Atlassian Intelligence booth, Rovo booth. Like, when is artificial intelligence coming to data center? Because these customers are hungry for this new value, but they know that they cannot afford to move data to the new platform in order to use. We are exploring these opportunities as well. It obviously is challenging because we're talking like two different platforms. We're talking like additional layer of security. And we basically talking about, like, okay, you need to like enable us to index your data in cloud if you want to see the value of Rovo, and if you really want to utilize the power of these new solutions. And this is where customers go like, okay, but you have to give me some security controls. But we are already in conversations with some customers on how can we enable this alternative path to cloud that does not require migration as the first step. Migration can come later, but you can start using value of Atlassian Cloud in different ways, especially for the new products and solution. Atlassian Guard was like top of list for some of the data center customers. And we are scoping like, what would it mean? Like, is there technical feasibility to even go down this path? And is there appetite from customers? So we are open to these more nuanced approaches to how to enable customers using data center to get the most out of the other value that's shipped from by Atlassian to customers.
And I said, that's great. One of the biggest roadblocks I've seen for customers who want to be in cloud is they've been on server and then data center for 10, 15 years. They're long-lived Atlassian customers. They have dozens, if not hundreds, of independent integrations throughout the company that run off the data center API and use data center as that kind of common talking point that talks to all these other systems. And they're looking at the cost of re-engineering all those integrations, let alone finding all of them. And they're looking at millions of dollars in just that effort. Is there something being done to help maybe? I'm not optimistic enough to think that there will be a data center version of the API in cloud, but some sort of migration pathway for these people to make it easier for them to say, hey, we know you have these integrations. We know that using the old API, here's your path forward without spending an arm and a leg in redevelopment costs.
Yeah, this is a huge problem to solve, and we always like internally whenever whenever we have a conversation with our cloud teams as a data center team, sometimes it's hard to believe the level of customization and integrations that our enterprise customers have. Like, we have to remember, as you've said, they've been operating like this for tens of years. So it's their systems are just, oftentimes they don't know, like discoverability of these integrations is problem number one. And then how to even think about like moving it to cloud is another problem. So it's interesting that you've mentioned cloud first APIs. It's not something that is like in the works on the roadmap, but it's definitely something that's on our radar. Like that's currently this cost, like whenever customers migrate, there is a huge cost, and we do acknowledge it. There is a huge cost on the customer end to migrate. The more complex the customer, the higher the migration. And it's not just it's just from the planning perspective, from the assessment perspective, there are multiple steps. There are multiple things that you have to discover. You have to understand how you've been operating. It's a huge opportunity at the same time, because like with all the baggage of the past, of the history with data center, customers have an opportunity to clean up, simplify, define the workflows, define the footprint in the new environment. But it is a huge cost. We are building solutions and tooling for customers to help with this assessment. There is a team, I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to interact with them. There is a team which we internally call migration readiness team. They help with understanding your Atlassian footprint. Like as a customer, if you have an intention to migrate to cloud very early, it's oftentimes like pre-sales conversations. We've built tooling, and we are thinking about the next iterations of this tooling that helps identify not only the marketplace apps that you have. Oftentimes customers don't have visibility even in the portfolio of marketplace apps that they have on their multiple data center instances, but also like how projects within your instance connect, and it's this discoverability and visibility of your Atlassian footprint. So that's one investment that we are focusing on to help make these decisions and take a lot of load off customer shoulders, especially those more complex and those who've been like in DC for many years. But we will be taking into consideration some bolder approaches, as you've said, like will we at some point have cloud first APIs? Who knows? Maybe yes. That's, as I said, this would be a huge investment. So we have to consider, like from the strategic point of view, whether that's the right investment. But we are definitely considering these bolder approaches and bigger shifts in how we operate between cloud and on-prem, and how we can enable new migration strategies, I would say, right?
Mm-hmm. So one of the terms you used in your talk was fully mature, that data center currently is fully mature. Now, customers who are on DC saw that and they got a little concerned about exactly what that means. Could you explain in your own words what that means and what it means for the future of the data center products if you are currently on it?
Yes. It's interesting that you mention it, because shortly after my talk, I had a meeting with customer, and this very phrase, it was very clear that it triggered them. They were concerned, and they were like, you have to explain yourself. You have to explain yourself. So frankly, we didn't expect this to be such a big trigger for data center customers. In our story, which was like the story was expected to tell, we've started with on-prem. This is how we've learned. This is how we've built our success. Cloud came in next, and we have always been like, we are one Atlassian, so we're learning from each other. Enterprise was the focus for data center for many years now. Like we have always been focused on enterprise customers with more admin capabilities, more investments in performance, and cloud is still catching up. They're making huge strides, but they are still catching up of many of this enterprise capabilities. And the comment on mature is basically like acknowledging the fact that our portfolio of products is mature. So we are not planning to expand our portfolio of products similar to how we are expanding with cloud. Okay, so the data center offering as such is we offer Jira software, JSM, Bamboo, Crowd, Bitbucket, Confluence, obviously. And from the portfolio perspective, we are a mature product offering. And we are not planning to, and now I know that I should probably like add more nuance to this and be very upfront with customers, because in my conversations, whenever I talk to customers, this is exactly what I tell them. We're not planning to expand our portfolio of products. We are not planning to add new jobs to be done, like in on-prem. So Atlassian Intelligence is a great example. Like we are not going to build Atlassian Intelligence capabilities that are dedicated for on-prem customers, but we will explore opportunities for on-prem customers to use the value that we are shipping on our cloud platform. But the new value, new capabilities, new jobs to be done will be delivered through our cloud platform, not through our data center platform. However, our strategy remains as it has been for a few years now. Security and compliance, performance and scale, and experience improvements. So we will continue to make sure that we add automation capabilities, like we've recently added automation, archiving automation in Jira. We are updating the technology that we use, like OpenSearch for Confluence is a good example. So within the jobs to be done that data center products offer, we continue to invest, we continue to up-level our tech stack, we're shipping platform releases, and we continue to add new functionalities. Like, I personally hate the word features, because features is anything can be a feature, but we make sure that you as a user, as an admin or as an end user, you can continue to work efficiently with data center tools within the defined scope of the products that we offer.
All right. That leads me to the next question. This is actually something I got from another reader. Are you familiar with Fisheye Crucible, the old Atlassian tools that have been in maintenance mode? Someone looked at the security and platform release roadmap of DC and said, how does this not qualify under Atlassian's own definition of maintenance mode? And I had no answer for them, because they're very similar sounding when you look at the definition versus what the plan is for data center. And just to read it to you, I'm on the Fisheye support website. Basic maintenance mode means there will not be any further feature developments on Fisheye and Crucible. Atlassian will continue to provide licensed customers with technical support and updates in the form of maintenance releases. Such releases will focus on security, bug fixes, and platform updates.
So that's the definition of Fisheye, just for me to understand. That's a definition of Fisheye Crucible maintenance mode. And then the reader like translates this to, there's not much else happening in the broader data center strategy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And instead, I went and I looked this up myself just to confirm, because I wasn't going to take it at face value, what they were saying. And this is currently for Fisheye and Crucible, the definition on the support website.
Yeah. And that's the right definition. And then, like, as every definition, it's always worth to double click into what it actually means. Fisheye Crucible is released twice a year, if I'm not mistaken, with some very irregular backfix updates in case of like severe vulnerability, whereas for all the data center products, we are releasing close to 200 like releases, which we call either feature release or minor release throughout the year. We are not releasing platform releases in the sense of like a deep technical API breaking changes. We're not doing it for Fisheye Crucible, and we are doing it for data center. We continue to release long-term support releases, which is a 2-year commitment from us to support a dedicated version of the data center release for all our products apart from Crowd. We release LTSs. So it's easy to jump into conclusions when you only look at words, but the facts tell a very different story. We are shipping dark theme across our product portfolio, which is a huge investment, right? Like, I know cloud was first, but for products with such a long history, and I assume most of your readers are engineers, and they can draw conclusion based on like how complex data center code is, and how much of technical debt there is in this code. So like building upon this code and shipping a big change, like a complete overhaul of our UI, that's a huge investment. Functionality wise, like I think Confluence is the best example. When we have up level our editor, we've changed the way you work with tables. We've shipped a bunch of admin functionality. So customers always want more, and I understand that. But data center continues to be an extremely scalable, flexible, and affordable piece of software, let's be honest, for the value that it delivers, which we continue to improve, not at the speed, because I think it's always, it's also important to like, your perspective changes depending on the context around you. And I do acknowledge that Atlassian context is very cloud heavy. We are messaging cloud. There is a lot happening in cloud. And for all the right reasons, we do want to encourage customers to use our cloud solutions, because we believe that this is where the future is. This is where we invest majority of our capacity. And with this investment, customers cannot expect, like we've been very open and transparent about our strategy. So as much as we are committed to continue to support this largest, more regulated customers. Currently with data center, we believe in the future, majority of our customers will be able to use our cloud solutions. You cannot compare. It's not like apples to apples comparison. So data center is its own entity with its own strategy and its own value proposition that we are putting on the market. And again, like we are very clear. If you're after innovation, move to cloud. If you're after scale and stability and like staying efficient in your current ways of working, data center continues to be there for you.
And if I may make a point, I know this conversation has been somewhat antagonistic, but I just want to make this point while I have the chance. I really wish you would play up dark mode more. That is such a huge ask, and it's been such a huge ask for so long that actually delivering on it for data center customers is a huge win. I really wish you guys would play that up more. I said the same thing with cloud when they first announced it, and it was just like a byline. I'm like, no, this is actually big. People have been wanting this since server was the only option, and you guys are delivering it. I wish you would shout it from the mountaintops.
Okay, that's great feedback, Rodney. Thank you so much. I agree with you. I think we sometimes too shy about, well, like we think that, but it's not, it's market standard by now, which is not untrue, right? Like it is market standard by now, but we could not do it, and we're choosing to do it, right? So I agree with you. It's a big deal, and I heard it from customers directly. They really appreciate. They're really happy. It's obviously like coming to Confluence soon, to Jira shortly after. So it's happening.
I mean, I have studio lights in my eyes all day long. Anything I could get dark mode saves me that much more eye strain. It's a huge thing for me. As I said, right now I'm cloud. Not to say one is better than the other. I still have my own data center instance. It's on standby, but I have it in case I need to test things. But I do think that was a huge win. I really want to emphasize that I'm a huge fan of it. I'm glad it came to cloud. I'm more glad it came to data center because those customers, they don't feel like they're getting a win, and this is definitely a win for them, for their own customers in turn.
Yeah, thank you.
So you mentioned affordability. DC prices rose last year about 15%, which on the surface is not the most horrendous price rise, but for enterprise software, especially on the higher end, it could get expensive. Guidance, though, I don't have any details. I'm not with Atlassian, but guidance so far has been that we're expecting a similar price hike this year. What would you say people are getting for their additional investment? Because they're having to report to their own C-suite saying, hey, I'm going to need X more dollars. And the question is always coming back, well, what are we getting for this extra money?
Yeah. That's a fair question, and I think we have a very solid answer with data center, especially on the scale front. Uh, our tools are extremely scalable, and customers, it's easy. Like oftentimes, I have to redirect customers' attention to these aspects because they are growing, even if they are not growing users. So even if they are not like explicitly paying us more for the user tiers, they are growing usage, like to the extent that sometimes it's hard to believe, like generating millions of issues weekly, adding thousands of comments to single issues. And I'm talking about like the far end customers, but not necessarily like huge enterprises, even middle-sized customers. We are watching the growth trends, and our tools continue to work at this scale. And this scale doesn't come because customers are not successful. This scale is the reason of their like they grow because they are successful with their businesses, right? So some of the big brands, like it's easy to go and say, oh, but we didn't get any features. Yes, maybe you didn't get all the features, but you scaled your processes to the extent that you potentially wouldn't be able to scale with any other tool. We still like we are enabling customers with significant control, and that's what they're asking for. Like we've built monitoring and diagnostic tooling. And I know it sounds like, yes, but you are not doing it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. We have to monitor. Yes, but you have these insights and you can make decisions that are tailored to your needs. Our customers are so complex and so specific that long ago we have made a decision that it's more important to enable them to self-serve than to and give them guidance. That's another thing where we are investing. Like guardrails was a huge breakthrough, and customers are so happy that we are telling them, hey, like these are the boundaries that you should not cross, like watch out, like this is how you can grow healthy. So I would say like scale, control. We also up leveling our game in terms of infrastructure. Like we are adding support for clustered databases, so they can from the on-prem the point of view, we really make sure that customers can modernize their infrastructure, support for a cloud infrastructure, like there is the whole infrastructure related stream of work, optimizing that helps them optimize their cost as well, right? So we remember that there is the component of like the infrastructure cost, but truly like I think when like obviously customers don't tell don't tell us the whole story, but we know that Atlassian for the scale that Atlassian data center tools for the scale that we can offer, we still very affordable to run, not only from the licensing perspective, but also from the total cost of ownership perspective. And you always have to look at the broader market. We are not only transparent with our prices, but we also like we are looking. We are not we are not raising these prices in a limbo. We know what our competitors charge for similar solutions, and we are still competitive on the market, even with the 15. It's always is bad news when you increase prices, but then when we dig deeper into the value conversation, data center products are definitely worth the value, the money.
And just to expand on that, this is more for my own notes later. When I started as an Atlassian admin, you could count the number of million plus instances on one hand. LinkedIn was one I knew of. NVIDIA wasn't there yet. There weren't many people out there running large scale instances. And now people look at a million issue instance at somewhat moderate size. Oh, that's the scale you're on. And to come that far in just only 10 years is absolutely mind-blowing. Again, to the guardrails, and I cannot explain this enough. When I first started as an Atlassian admin, these guidance was not available. You ask, well, what can you do without causing performance problems? They're like, just watch your custom field count, not details like these are the things that actually impact performance. JVM tuning was a big deal back then because you had to dial that in perfectly if you wanted to get the most performance out of the tool. Is not really a thing we worry about too terribly much anymore. So for all the hubbub about it, these are things that have made impacts in how people run the data center products. It may not be seen by everyone. It's something I definitely do see and do appreciate.
Thank you, Rodney.
So I think that's all the questions I had. I think the most concerning comment I had was someone who was at the talk at Team was their immediate reply was, I just watched this and it looks like the writing is on the wall for data center. And I'm like, well, that's great and all. I'm not making any judgments until I watch it and I have a chance to talk directly with Atlassian. So I do appreciate you taking the time and expanding on the story somewhat so that people are getting what's actually happening, not what speculation is.
Yeah, I do. Sure, like any time, and I do have one. If you have 2 more minutes, I do have an ask for you, Rodney. But I do want to like close the loop on this. We again. We are in software development where things change. Sometimes things change very quickly. Sometimes they take decades, right? AI is a great example where it was a project ongoing for many years, and then it accelerated within the last 6 months or a year to the extent that it's hard to believe, right? This is why I struggle with statements like for sure or like 100% or anything that is black and white. It's nuanced. As Atlassian, we understand where we are on our journey. We want to be a cloud first, if not cloud only company, because we can see the power of cloud. We have proven it ourselves. Like once we got the platform right, the number of new products that we could launch on this platform is just amazing, right? And the speed at which we were launching is just amazing. In on-prem, it's not possible. Like there are limitations to on-prem. And there is value in on-prem as well. Like we get this. And we always we evaluate where we are, where our customers are primarily, and we understand that that our cloud story as it is now, and our cloud is not ready for it's ready for many of our current data center customers, and we're working on it, and we are like in sales process and sales conversations with them. It's a transformation. They also have to change the way they think about their future with Atlassian, right? But we also know that there is a segment of customers who rely on data center, and we have identified like main themes that matter for these customers, and we're very clear exactly what I've said. If you're after innovation, plan your path to cloud. It doesn't have to be a straightforward migration. Maybe there are other, maybe you can start fresh with new projects in cloud and then gradually move to like more projects into cloud. So if you're after innovation, go there. If you cannot move, data center is here for you. That's our story now. Whether the writing is on the wall or it isn't, like we are a business. We have a strategy. We do like whatever we can, but we're here to support our customers, and we'll definitely like be clear about the path for those who don't see their future in cloud now, right? Like for now, data center is here for you. There is no plan to end of life data center. And my ask to you, Rodney, as you know, we are working on platform releases across the portfolio of our products, and it's going to be a big one. Personally, like you shouldn't put it in the blog, but I'm really stressed about this release. It drives a lot of change. It changes the way we work with Marketplace. It changes the way we define gray APIs. Everything with the goal, with a security goal in mind. Like as you know, we've been wounded, both our customers and Atlassian has been wounded by some incidents. And we have to make everything possible to protect our customers from bad actors. And this platform release is an attempt, like takes us, it's one step on the journey. And I just wonder if you, like, I don't expect your instance to be a huge instance, but if you could be one of the first early adopters of our new platform release and like share feedback with us, but also tell us how we can improve, like what will work for customers, where customers will experience friction. I don't want to ask for too much, but like think about whether this is something that you would be interested in.
No, I already had plans to test new platform release as soon as I could. So that's not a problem. That was already on the roadmap. I'm excited about it. From a security perspective, I don't have much experience as a security professional, but I do have some. And the moves you guys are making on that end cannot say enough about. I love the openness, the fact that you're willing to put monthly now the bugs out that, hey, these are the vulnerabilities we've had, even if they're downstream vulnerabilities they're not your fault, but you're still putting it out there so people are aware of them. I really do praise that. So I was already going to test out the new platform releases. Traditionally, I don't install zero releases. Those are the releases that end in zero. So Jira 10.0.0, I wouldn't normally install. I'm making an exception for this platform release.
This is great. So if you don't mind, I would connect you with my team so that you have also some insiders information, and like you guys can work closely together, and they can use your guidance on maybe, you know, like prioritize some of the problems that you identified. This would be super helpful.
And for my part, I get not every feature can come to DC. Atlassian Intelligence, crazy powerful, but the number of GPUs and data that you need to empower that, I think only NVIDIA themselves would have the infrastructure to be able to pull that off. And that's because they're making the things. So I do get that. And this is something I tell my readers often, especially when they ask me directly about it. Not every feature can come because some of this infrastructure required for these tooling only makes sense at the scale of cloud.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't want to have antagonistic relationship with Atlassian. I do want to get the true story out there, but I absolutely do want to provide feedback. And as said, one of my biggest feedbacks is just make the migration path easier between the two. You'll have so many people absolutely ready to hop over. It's just right now, especially with the APIs, the cost of redevelopment is so heavy that at the end of the day, it doesn't make financial sense to move, even with the price increases. So, I love cloud. I love it, Jira, but I love cloud. I love all the features bringing. JPD is something I use. Obviously, Atlassian Intelligence, something I'm diving into. I'm already on the wait list for Rovo when that becomes available. So I'm all on board, but when I have customers, my readers reaching out to me, I want to get the actual story, not the speculation.
Yeah, and thank you for that. Like you, internally, we are quoting your articles, like and watching your blog as well. So thank you so much for that. I know, like I understand customers. Any change is hard, transformation is hard, and like there is like for companies who build entire systems on data center, and frankly, that's off record, probably not for the blog, but my personal opinion. Atlassian, Atlassian made a few major mistakes in how we frame the story around data center and cloud. So even the separation between both deployments makes this as if there were two realities, right? So data center is one reality, and customers, like whenever they hear about cloud platform, cloud that, they look at their reality and they say, but I do have a platform. It works. It's perfect. Like it solves my problems. Why is Atlassian selling me something that is very different and requires work from me? So the fact that we've created these two very separate product lines doesn't make that, like now the translation is like you have to translate from Chinese into, let's say, Polish, right? So it's just a very difficult translation. It helped us to accelerate cloud, but it's not helping with moving from one place to another. And yeah, it's not a black and white story, and it's very nuanced. So I personally believe that it needs a nuanced approach. I'm very excited about like how can we accelerate cloud adoption among data center customers rather than think about like migration. The moment they see the value of cloud, they will consider migration. But now oftentimes it's something very abstract, because with the day-to-day in DC, they have enough problems to solve than to think about like yet another project, which is a migration project, right? So that's...
Atlassian has made several missteps with how they've sold data center to existing customers. One of my favorite, and this is something I know my previous company shared with you because it's in the room when they shared it with you. Being said, you don't need to be afraid. The team was not afraid of the migration. They were ready to take it on the moment permission was there. There were just actual reasons why a migration did not make sense at that time. And being called or being told we're afraid when we're not was somewhat insulting to us. And that was on one sales guy. It wasn't Atlassian as a whole, but it was still very much a misstep. So there have been missteps with how the whole narrative has been packaged. And again, all this off the record, I'm not going to share this. But things are changing fast. Back in the Cold War, there was a US diplomat quoted, and I know they're not the Russia of today is not someone to emulate by any means, but the diplomat said things in Moscow either change over the course of decades or over the course of minutes, with no in between. Software development to me has always felt like that, and the age we live in with Atlassian now very much feels like that, where things either change very quickly or very slowly with no in between.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I do appreciate your time. I do want to be respectful. I know we're coming close to the end of it. I'm hoping to give you some time back. But
That's
thank you so much.
that's great. Thank you so much, Rodney. Always happy to help. Yeah.
If there's anything I could do for you or anything you guys would like to hear from me about, you know how to get all to me. Don't be afraid to reach out.
Okay, I will. I'll find the right group of folks who can work with you on the platform release, and I'll make sure they connect and between you can figure out the right plan. And after testing, if you publish something, this will like hopefully help us convince customers, because I know it's going to be a disruptive release. So we also have to make sure, I want to ensure the highest possible quality, and I want to make sure that we build trust with customers, like once we release LTS on the new platform. All right,
Yeah.
Rodney, have a great day.
Thank you. Hope you have a great day too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.